And welcome back. We have been joined on set for this particular segment this morning by Shakera Forrester. She is here this morning to discuss with us the work of the Tyler Foundation in the nonviolence context. Good morning, Shakera.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, for some background, we'd like you to first of all share with us how the idea of the Tyler Foundation came about and how you were able to take a tragic situation that befell you and your family and make something of it to try to effect change in our society.
Well, the foundation came about after the death of my son, Tyler. He was 7 years old. One Friday morning, November 11, 2016, I dropped him off at school. And my intention was to pick my baby up from school the evening, or actually his grandmother's house. But that wasn't what the day had in store for me. He was at 4 o'clock, just about, or maybe 3:30, quarter to 4. I was called and told that I needed to go to the hospital because something had happened to Tyler. And I thought, okay, what happened? And so the person said, I don't want to tell you what happened, but I know that, he was with his cousin, and they're saying that they were shot, and so you need to go. And immediately, I felt so weak in my body, but I went, and I thought on my way there that it was just probably a bullet graze. It was just maybe an injury to the hand or the foot, nothing that would be life-threatening, so to speak. So I consoled myself with the fact that he's going to be okay. This is just another hiccup. It's going to be okay. But reaching there, as I got closer, it started to just come on me that maybe it can be worse, because I know his dad had passed 2 years prior to from gunshot injuries as well. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to be hopeful. Going into the hospital, we were told just wait outside. And so I did. And about less than 5 minutes, the doctor came out and she asked for the family of the boy. And I said, me. And she took me in a little room, and I was thinking, okay, I'm going to just get an update. And when she said those words, I am sorry, we did our best, my whole world changed. And it took me quite a while to get my stuff together, to get my head together, because I wasn't able to go home, I wasn't able to eat, I wasn't able to sleep. I was actually on sedatives for quite a while. And then I think for the most part of it, it was just being overtaken by grief, because he was everything for me. But still, because of my walk with God, because of the faith that I had, I said, God, you have control over everything, and so you allowed this for a reason. I know you didn't do it, but I know you allowed it. And so I said a simple prayer: use this pain to bring glory to your name. And that was all I prayed. And I decided, how many other mothers in Belize are going through the same thing that I'm going through? Their sons may not be 7 years old, their sons may not be innocent, but they have loss. A loss is a loss. And so I wanted to do something other than just living, other than just being a statistic, other than just sitting on the news crying. I wanted to do something that would impact our society and bring change, even if it was for just one person.
Yeah. What is interesting about your story, Shakera, is because as a reporter, I covered it, right? And I remember that day clearly, right? And I did not have a son as yet. I only had a daughter, but being able to understand the pain that a parent would go through losing a child to a situation where it's not of his or her own doing. Because if I recall correctly, this was on Handyside Street. Daly Street, on the side into Daly. And they were going to get
A milkshake.
a milkshake, right? And then this situation happened. And it's one of those situations, Shakera, where while we are covering it, you're still empathizing deeply because some of us have kids. Some of us, many of us have people that we go home to, or we have to go home to. And one cannot fathom this kind of situation until it happens to them, right? And I hope and pray that it never happens to me or to anybody else, right? But when you found yourself in the middle of that situation, and my question here may be a bit unsettling, but I'll ask nonetheless.
Shoot.
Your family, you are not foreign to the idea of tragedy.
No.
Because I have covered several stories where, you know, you're dealing with this kind of loss, these kinds of, you know, emotional shocks, so to speak. How do you bring that all together to move forward, particularly in the service of other people through your foundation?
I'll tell you honestly, it is something that takes only the grace of God, and it's something that takes resilience, because there have been times where I wanted to give up. There have been times when I thought I wasn't good enough, or God, is it really me that you want to use to do this? There have been times when even my family and I, we would be at odds, because with all the emotional trauma, everybody grieves differently. So there were times when my mother would become angry for no reason, and we would have to bear that lashing out. There were times when I wanted to isolate. There were times when I would lock myself in my room in the earlier part, and I would sleep under my bed because I just did not want to hear from anybody. And as of recent, we lost my youngest brother to gun violence. They went all the way in his house to kill him. And it's still hard for us, because we as a family know that we could have done better, but at the same time, we know that we still have to allow people to live the life that they want. And just recently, I remember going to pick up something, because I live in Los Lagos. I went to pick up something at the roadside, and there was this white hearse coming on the highway. And as I saw this hearse blinking its hazards light, I started to shake. And as I started to shake, tears just started to roll down my face. And it took me back to that day where I had to be at the forensic office at the lab, looking at my brother being carted away in a body bag, and then being placed in a hearse, a white hearse. And I'm thinking, okay.
So it's like a flashback of what you've experienced.
Yes. So I'm thinking, if this for me is hard, and I am a Christian, I could imagine what it is for those who don't have what I have. And so I think that if you are not somebody who is strong, who is fighting to make sure that I survive this, you might crash. And you might not die physically, but emotionally you will die. Spiritually you will die. You will find yourself in a very, very dark place.
So talk to us about taking on. I've just been listening to your stories and taking all of that in. How do you then take that pain to create the Tyler Foundation?
I wouldn't even say it's me taking the pain. I would say it's just by faith. It's something I can't explain, but it's like knowing that this is something that you have to do. even if there are days you don't want to do it, even if there are days that you get weary of doing it, even if you don't see the money to do it, you get up and you do it.
So talk to us about what it is and how you're using your experiences to help others.
One of the things that we pride ourselves in doing is to reach the children that most people would see as the forgotten. We try to work with the young people and even the mothers. That is my area that I try to focus on a lot, women, because I'm a woman. I've had a man, and I have a man now, a husband, and I know the power of influence a woman has in a household. And so if we are able to touch the lives of these women, help them to heal emotionally, help them to heal mentally, help them to heal psychologically, we will see a difference in the way the children are raised.
Yeah.
So that is the area that I'm focusing on as it relates to the children. One of the things that we try to do very often is to let them know you're not forgotten. You see, grieving is something that is very funny. When I lost my son, though I was grieving, my entire family was affected by it. And I believe had I had another child, that child would have definitely felt neglected because it was hard. And could you imagine, based on the amount of murders that had happened this year, how many children, their mothers are just not coping well, and they feel forgotten, they feel lost, and that pushes them into the street, that pushes them into the gangs. We want to be able to touch base with these children as often as we can. If that means giving them a plate of food, yes. If that means giving them backpacks, yes. If that means having Christmas parties with them and giving them gifts and just spending time with them, we will do it. Just because we know that it's important to show them love and to let them know that somebody cares for you.
I think what is equally important in all of what you're setting out to do as a foundation, and I'm certain that you guys have this in mind if you're not already employing it, is to provide a listening ear as well.
Yeah.
Because sometimes while we're able to take kids on trips, while we're able to provide them with stationaries or Christmas toys and what have you, sometimes it's easy to forget that they just want someone that they could express themselves to in that particular moment, right? So opening up a gift may be a happy point in time, but if you're not really addressing how they feel based on that loss, then you're pretty much only masking, and I'm not saying your foundation, but I'm simply saying
understand.
People generally like...
It's a band-aid fix.
Exactly,
Yeah,
right? And so being able to engage with children, and even in some cases young people, and just listen to them. How do you feel, right? And them sharing that with you. I think that's a legitimate start.
Yeah. It's nothing that, whatever a child may share, I will tell you sometimes it's nothing that I have not experienced because of the era I was raised. So it's not that I don't know or I don't understand. My issue is sometimes is that we don't have the resources, right? I work closely with Miss Yolanda Welch from Rafa Hope Center. She's a Christian counselor. But there's only so much that we can do in reference to listening, in reference to giving that counseling, that advice, because I can bring them at that place where we work with them, but putting them back in the very same environment that wounded them is what is troubling, and that is why I've just been, you had asked the question earlier about getting an actual location, and that is why I'm thinking, okay, we need to have a place where these people can come and where they can feel safe and where they are not forced to go back, maybe where they're being abused, maybe where they're being mistreated or neglected. But I believe it will come in time, but it is something that I've learned that sometimes you can't save everybody because
And you can't save someone who doesn't,
and who
want,
doesn't want
to
to
be saved.
or even so they don't even realize that they have a problem, and it's so hard to help somebody that does not think that they have a problem.
So the kids and the mothers, right? So I want to focus on the mothers. Is it something that you would provide, like a women's group, a counseling session? How does it work? How do we get in touch with you for this?
What we normally do is at least 2 times for the year, we would meet with women, and I would have Miss Welch come in, and we would do sessions with these women where we will cover a broad area as it relates to their emotional wellness. That is very important, you know, for any woman and any person. It is important. And if identified that they need that one-on-one, then it is something that we recommend that they go and have sessions with her. Now, will they do it? We don't know. But we can refer them to say that, okay, maybe after the session they come and they say, you know what, Shakera, I really need help because this area stuck out to me, and I realized, man, I have anger issues, or I suffer with anxiety, or I might be going into a phase of depression. And so we will find things that will try to help them, but if they don't be consistent with it and they're not open with it, we cannot force them.
Is this something that if they're having this kind of trouble and you have that one-on-one session with them, or you talk, can they openly just come to you and say, I need this today, I need to speak to you today? Okay, yeah, so let's talk about how people get in touch with you for these sessions.
I have my cell number, which is 613-0821, but most people contact me on Facebook.
Okay.
They contact me on my my
your
personal
personal?
page, yes, because I use it a lot, and I believe that sometimes people would know based on what I post that maybe I post a scripture, maybe I post a testimony, and it helps them. They would reach out and be like, okay, that really helped me. I need help in this area. And I would definitely take the time out and have that discussion with them.
Have you ever encountered a situation where you felt that maybe perhaps I need to relay you to somebody else, maybe a different foundation or a different an organization? Maybe this is probably not in Shakera's area of expertise.
Most of the times, I'll tell you when I would refer. One, when I notice that there are deep things that I cannot deal with, I would refer. And there are times when there are physical needs that these people need that I cannot meet because it's just me, or the foundation does not have the fund to cover that. And I would have to refer them, or I would maybe call somebody to say, hey, I have this person here, they need XYZ, how can you help? Or I would just post on Facebook, hey, I need help. And I'll be honest, most of my support comes from friends, comes from family, and it comes from certain business areas, businesses that support. So I do, yes, send out because I can't do everything.
In light of, we're talking about World Nonviolence Day, and just, I mean, we are talking about the tragedy surrounding your foundation, but how do you advise the Belizean citizens out there, or just people in general, to keep the course, to keep the faith in light of all that has transpired?
My word that I thrive on is love. It's just love. When you love stops you from doing so many different things. When you love, you don't hurt people intentionally. And even if you do, you're able to say, I'm sorry. And that is what we lack. We lack love. And if we as a people, we don't go back to the foundation of it, which is love, we will find ourselves and this country in years to come in a worse state. And so my advice to anybody who may be listening in is to go back to the root, go back to the foundation and find love. Love will help you to forgive. It will help you to overlook the offenses that people may cause to you. Love will allow you to be more confident in yourself, loving other people, and most importantly, loving God. Because when you allow yourself to be in that position of faith, it changes your whole perspective on life. How can somebody who lost her only child say, I'm willing to go and help somebody who has gone through the same thing with me, if it were not for love?
That's a spiritual journey in and of itself, though, in terms of being able to find peace within yourself, to be able to walk that path and help other people.
So what is your next step or your plans moving forward with the Tyler Foundation?
Well, we have upcoming this month. November 5th, a wellness conference that we're going to be having for women. It's Graves into Gardens, and this is where, just on this side, we have a little bit of the emotional areas that we will be touching. And this is to help our women heal. It is to put them at that place where they're able to stand a little bit firmer and say, I can do this. I can be the mother that my children deserves. I can be that sister. I can be that aunt. I can be that person in the community that brings a change and that brings a positive impact.
When is it? November 5th.
Yes.
It's going to be an all-day event. Is it going to be like a retreat?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We want it to be an overnight thing, because we don't want to rush. Healing is a process. And so as we touch the different areas, we want to give the women a time to share, a time to fellowship, and also we want to get them all dressed up the night to go out and have just a nice dinner. Maybe they don't even have the time to do that at home. They're busy with the kids. So we want to take them away to just have that time of loving up on themselves and finding peace within themselves.
Shakera, I want to thank you so much for coming up here and talking to us about your story. That's not something easy for anybody to do. So thank you for sharing, and best of luck on your foundation.
Thank you.
And of course, if anybody wants to contact Shakera to see how they can help her with her foundation, they can find her on her personal Facebook page. It's Young-Forrester on Facebook.
Yes.
Young-Forrester on Facebook, and your cell phone number is
613-0821.
Thank you so much, Shakera.
You're welcome.
And with that, we are going to take our next break, and we'll be back with more Open Your Eyes, so stay tuned.